Okay, guys. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being with us one more time in this Process Professor sessions. Welcome to the June session that we're going to have today. I'm really excited to be with you in this session. Today we will be talking about all the excited and all the new features that has been included into the latest version that we released a couple of weeks ago into the market. My name is Kevin Guerrero. I am basically the technical marketing manager in Bizagi. I am aka the process professor, and I have been working in the company for more than 10 years, and it's my pleasure to be with you today. If it is the first time that you are actually in one process professor session, welcome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your attention and your interest in our company and in our products. This is a space that we have developed and that we have created for this year. And the idea is that you have a free space where you can come here, where you can hear from some interesting topics, from some information that it's basically in the market, information that we have seen that is getting a lot of attention in general about automation, new things about our products, and that you have a space where you can communicate and you can express all the things that you want. The way on how the process professor works is going to be something like this. So we're going to have always one time or some time that it's going to be available to talk about one topic in general. Today is going to be everything about the new version that we got, the roundup of features that we got for this latest version. And then we are going to have a couple minutes where we will be showing a couple things directly in our products. And finally, you're going to have a full free space or minutes where you will be able to actually talk about and where you will be able to ask whatever you want. Something important about this last space of questions is that it doesn't have to be just about the topic that we're talking about in the session. So today we will be talking about the latest version of the of our product. It doesn't mean that your question must be related to that. You can have a question or you can ask a question about whatever you want. If you have an integration problem or you have an integration issue or something that you don't know how to do from the modeling perspective, or you are trying to do a simulation, or you are trying to create a form, whatever you need, you can ask in that last space, okay? And you will be able to actually make your question using basically the question box that you got here into the in the GoToWebinar point, or if you want at the end, you can just basically raise the hand. I can enable your microphone, and from there you can basically do what you got. So let's see what we will be talking about today in our Process Professor session. So today is basically Bizagi feature run-up. The way on how we have a structure, the way on how I create this presentation is following the different strategic directives that we have defined in Bizagi for the development of our different products. We have to find a line, we have to find a path that is the one that we want to take to support all our customers and all our partners, and we have created and developed new features and new elements within our products to support that strategy. Our strategy is based on four big pillars, if we want to call it like in this way. We will be talking about everything about orchestrating people, systems, and bots. The second one, it will be how to support all the citizen developers, all the types of citizen developers. The third one is how we will be able to surface insight and intelligence. And the final one is how to have or create or generate enterprise and global solutions. So all the features and everything that we will be talking about today is going to be aligned in these four elements. And I will go into one of them in more detail in the following minutes. So I would like to start with this a quote and with this important fact that was presented and it was published by Gartner during this year in one article that is basically the top strategic technology trends for 2021, right? And they have identified something that is this concept or this new element called a hyper automation, that it is getting a lot of attention in the market and that is actually growing in terms of the expectation that the market is having about this one. But something that I like a lot about this one is this quote that they have defined over here, and is hyper-automation principles are the foundation for the future of work, as it has rapidly shifted from an option to a condition of survival. So definitely, there is not anymore like an option. There is not something like, I will think about if I wanted to do it or not. Now, this is basically a condition of survival. And one thing that they have actually realized, and is going to be basically the baseline for everything that we will see today, is that everything that can be automated will be automated. So it means we're now in a point where everything must be automated. Every single element, every single process, every single object that we identify that can be automated, we must automate it. And that's why in Bizagi we have been working, and we're so glad and we're really excited to present all the different gifts and different features that has been included in our latest version, and where you are going to find really exciting options and elements that probably you will waiting for them. Here, officially, we want to let you know that we have the Bizagi 11.2.5 version. This is general, available for our all community, our partners, customers, clients. Everyone can actually now use it and get it. You can just go directly to our bizagi.com website, and from the website, you will be able to actually download the version and start playing around. One of the things that I would like to highlight here at the beginning is taking into account that quote that was presented by Gartner, where everything that can be automated must be automated. That's the way on how we want to be, or that we want to be included in your organization in terms of the platform that we are. Bizagi is one platform, every process. It means that in Bizagi, the strategy that we want to have is that independently of the type of processes that your company have, we will be able to give you an option to control, to automate, and to manage those processes. Bizagi is the low-code process automation PaaS, right, our cloud offering, that gives you a lot of options, all the different options in terms of what you need. It doesn't matter what type of processes we're talking about. It doesn't matter if it is the traditional and classic structured processes that we have, is step 1, 2, 3, or if we are talking about a process that is more like a case management or a more experienced one, or if it is a low code, or if it is a no code at all. We have an option for all of them, and that's what we want to be in this point. As I was telling you at the beginning when I was presenting the agenda, we have defined in the company the different strategic directives, and these strategic directives handles or try to focus in how we can become that specific platform that will help our customers to find all the options that they need, all the features that they want, and all the basically functionalities that allow them to automate everything that can be automated. Based on these strategic directives is that we have defined and we have create different type of features in our products. You will see, and I will be presenting to you the different features aligned with any of these strategic directives. Which are these ones? First one, orchestrating people, systems, and bots. So definitely we have realized, we have seen, and it's not anymore like a mystery, or it's not something that we are still trying to understand if it is in that way or not. No, we're completely sure that if we want to have a successful integration and a successful digital transformation within any company, it is required to have orchestration. And it's not just of one single element. It has to be around all of them. If you focus just on systems, at some point you are going to get into a point that nothing else can be done. If you focus just on bots, bots are great, but are not enough by themselves. They need to have something else to coordinate or to have all of this. So that's why our first one, it is how to orchestrate people, system, and bots. The second one, if this is the first time that you are in one of these process professor session, maybe this is going to be the first time that you hear this, but if not, you have here about our citizen developer revolution. We want to have a revolution of citizen developers because basically one of the things that we have identified is that if companies must automate everything that they can, it will be impossible to do that automation just using IT. It's impossible. There is not enough bandwidth. There is not enough IT people that can support all the possible requests that can come after the request of automating everything that can be. So that's why we need to empower citizen developers to help this strategy to automate everything that can. So that's why many of the features that we have created in this new version, it's in line to support different type of citizen developers. The third one, surfacing insights and intelligence. The automation of processes is just one of the steps into this whole loop that we want to be better as a company. One of the most important ones after that, after you finish the automation, is how you can take out the information, the data that all those processes are generating for you, and then use that data and that information to understand better how you are working, where you can be better, and where you have actually points where things can be more efficient. So what we're having here is how we can take out that information, that data, right, and make it easy and flexible to be consumed by different type of processes. And the last one, 4.1, enterprise class and global solutions. Definitely what we want to support, it is all the range and all the spectrum of different type of customers, from the ones that maybe just focus on small processes or daily routine processes to the ones that goes through highly complex processes with multiple locations, with multiple users, with multiple languages, time zones. All of this is what we want to support. So let's start seeing one by one the different features that we have developed for every single element that you got here. And we're going to start with orchestrating people, system, and bots. The first strategic directive that we got in our company. And for this one, I am really excited and really happy to show you some of the features that we have. Take into account that here I am going to present just some of them, not all of them, the most relevant one. But if you want to get more information, if you want to have all the data for you, you can go to our website and from there read the full release notes of the version and understand in detail everything that we have included in the version. But in terms of this first directive, what we have and what I would like to present is two different sections here, connectors and RPA. From the connectors perspective, we are presenting the following elements. I'm going to go into detail into each of them in just a couple seconds. So we're presenting SAP Cloud Platform Connector, Power Automate Connector, Phone Recognizer, Text Analytic and Translation, and the new connector hub, the new integration hub that is also included or it's part of the new connector editor that we have over here. Now, from the RPA perspective, what we're presenting is now the integration or the native integration with Automation Anywhere on-premise version 8.360. It was the same, or it's AKD 8 2019. Initially, it was just 2019, and then they changed the name to 8.360, but it's the one that we have, and also an integration or an option to include UiPath attended bots. So let me just go and let's start seeing one by one which are the elements that we're talking about in this point. So the first one that it's the first integration aligned with this orchestrating system, people, and bots, it is the SAP Cloud Platform. So basically right now what we're doing is that we are presenting a new way on how we can integrate and we can connect directly with SAP. This is going to be through our connector that is SAP Cloud Platform. This SAP Cloud Platform connector allows our customer to forget about the difficult things and difficult parts of SAP and now shield this integration in just one single place. This connector is going to centralize all the different type of integration with SAP independently of the SAP system that customers are having. It doesn't matter if it is R3, it doesn't matter if it is S4HANA, it doesn't matter if it is SCC, ECC, it doesn't matter the type of HANA, of SAP that they are working. We just got one place, one connection, one single point of integration, and from there, we are connecting all of them, right? So this is the first thing that we're getting and that we're presenting to our customers. We are going to say, or one of the things with this integration is that we use a standard communication as OData to actually complete this integration. And one of the things that we have is that now we're trying to shield final users to have nightmares about updates of SAP. For us, it's going to be completely independent, which is the SAP version that the customers are using, because we got one single point of connection to them. The second integration element that we're having here, it is everything about the Power Automate. Probably all of you know, and Power Automate, it is actually has become a really, really popular technology and system in the market. We're seeing every single day more and more and more companies using these kind of approaches. We understand this is actually an important way and a good way on how a lot of things can be improved. But again, remember that we want to be one platform for every process. We want to cover the full spectrum of different type of processes. And because of that, we understand that at some point it will be possible or it will be required that Bizagi needs to communicate with Power Automate, but also that Power Automate needs to communicate with Bizagi. So that's why in this new version, we're presenting this integration in two ways. From the Bizagi to the Power Automate, we are actually having the opportunity to have this through a new connector option. And from Power Automate to Bizagi, we're exposing some web methods through OData that will allow us to communicate or talk when Power Automate needed. The next one that we have in this point is everything about the Azure Form Recognizer. This is something that is in line with this strategy that we have been using in the last couple of versions with the use of OCR technologies. This optical character recognition is something that we have been included in the market because in our product, because we have seen in the market that basically is highly used in all the digital transformation strategies. This, and maybe if you don't know what are these options of the OCR, it is technologies that allow you to extract data and information from documents. So for example, if you have a standard invoice document, instead of having someone reading the information from the invoice and copy the information to your process, we have the opportunity with these OCR technologies to extract automatically data from these documents and copy or put it in any system that we want. Before, in previous version, we have included something in line of this one that was our connectors to work directly with Avi. Even though now we're adding and we're expanding our offering on this one with Azure Form Recognizer. This is actually based and empowered by Azure. And here, what we're having is the possibility to just define the documents, include and upload those documents directly into our product, define the structure of the document that it will be used. And once that we got that structure, then we can just map the information and use that information directly in the product every time that is needed. The next one is going to be the Azure Text Analytics. This is actually part of the Azure Cognitive Services group services that are available also from Azure. Previously, in previous version, we have been working and we have exploring these cognitive services options, right? Before we include actually like a text analytics in terms of sentiments, right? To be or to identify if a customer is angry, is mad, it is happy, and to try to do a couple things with that. In this new version, we're expanding our options, and now we're adding this translator option into our corresponding Azure Text Analytics, right? Here, this one, even though that it is classified or that I just included here into the orchestration of people, bots, and systems, take into account that this one is also in line with the global solutions and enterprise class and global solutions directive, because at the end, what we have identified is that when we have this type of customers that are using our solution to be used in 20 or 30 countries, they need to have multiple language everywhere. So this is a good way on how they can be using this technology. Now, from the RPA perspective, if you remember, right, our approach to work with RPA system is that we are actually a platform that is completely neutral in that perspective. What I mean with that is that we're not saying to our customers which is the RPA provider that they have to use, right? No, but we say, hey, you know what? We offer out of the box a native integration with the leaders on the RPA space. Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, and UiPath. So you decide which one is the RPA provider that you want to use, and then you can basically just integrate it really easy into our platform. But as a priority for Bizagi, we always want to have our technologies and our integration up to date with the latest version on the market. So that's why now what we're having here, what we're getting over here, it is the option to have the support to have this native integration with Automation Anywhere A360 that was presented into the market. And finally, from the RPA perspective, what we are going to have or what we want to present over this is everything that is going to be the UiPath attended bots. This is what is also called RDA, that is Robotic Desktop Automation. And what we're talking about here are different type of bots. And I want to maybe clarify a little bit here if maybe you are not too familiar with RPA. But basically, when we're working with RPA space, we have two big group of bots that we can use. The ones that are called attended bots and the ones that are called unattended bots. In Bizagi, our strategy initially was about unattended bots, right? And we create our native integrations for unattended bots in the three main leaders of RPA. Automation Anywhere, UiPath, and Blue Prism. Now, we're getting into this attended bots space and we start our integration with this with UiPath. What is basically the main difference of these ones with the unattended? The unattended can be executed without any human intervention, and they, let's say, are located not in the end user computer or end user machine. It is located in central servers. When we're talking about attended bots, is because that is something that it will be executed in the end user machine. They are used to actually avoid and reduce this highly repetitive task. And one of the things that we have is that now they can trigger these kind of bots within Bizagi forms. So now if you add, for example, a button within our forms, once that the user click on that button, one of the things that can happen is that we can actually trigger an attended bot. The way that this is going to look like is that from the end user perspective, when they click or they trigger the execution of the bot, a pop-up window is going to appear saying that a bot is going to be executed at that time. And once that the bot completes the execution successfully, a message is going to appear over here where they will be able to see the result of the bot execution that you got here. So if you see here, we have multiple connectors and now RPA space. The last feature that I would like to talk about from this directive, it is everything about the Bizagi Integration Hub. So what we have defined and what we have done in the product is that we have centralized and organized the different type of integrations that we have in a one single project. Here, what we have included is that now there is just one single place from where our customers will be able to download connectors from the exchange, create new connectors based on REST connector, custom connectors, or the other standards that we have for them, right? Or even open existing connectors that you got already in one file. The great advantage of this is that now from one single point, you can handle everything about connectors, including the testing option. So now you will be able to test your connector even before or even without any need to add that connector to your process. So here in the connector editor, when I go and start creating my connector, everything is going to happen inside of Bizagi Studio. Before, maybe if you remember, we got a connector editor that was web-based. Now we're adding that into our Bizagi Studio to centralize everything and to have everything in just one single point. So when we start creating a new connector, this is going to be where we will be able to select the type of connector that I would like to create at this point. I can define everything that is needed for a connector, actions, inputs, outputs, security, everything that I want. And even I can test my connector just right away from the same structure. Once that you got the result of that connector, you can see which is even the output that was generated in the execution of the connector to validate and to check that everything is actually in line with what you were expecting. So all of this and all this section was everything in terms of the orchestration of people, system, and bots, right? Now let's move to the second directive that we have here, and it is the join the citizen developer revolution. This is something that we have talked about in previous Process Professor sessions. If this is the first time and you want to know a little bit more, my advice is that you can come back or you can go back and review previous videos and previous sessions of the Process Professor and check everything about this citizen developer revolution. But the idea, the general idea of this citizen developer revolution is that definitely if we want to get into that point that was stated by Gartner, that is that everything that can be automated must be automated, it is going to be impossible to do it only with IT. We cannot do it. There is not enough resources. There is not enough people. There is not bandwidth that we can have in any company that guarantee that we will be able to actually do this whole thing. So that's why is that we are saying, let's have a revolution. Let's have a revolution of citizen developers. And one of the important things about citizen developers is that we're not going to have just one. We have a full spectrum of citizen developers, each of them with a specific characteristics, each of them with different differential skills that will allow us to understand much better where every single user can be located and what kind of things they will be able to do. So we have from the simplest or from the most basic citizen developer that is like the end user that doesn't have any technical knowledge and that they can maybe have something about automating processes that does not require any code at all. For example, just using a lot of wizards. Or if we move, we are going to have some power users that has a little bit more skills and that they can use actually low-code applications. Or if we move, we can have actually business developers that we call that they have the opportunity to do this low-code plus. That is, it's not going to be full coding, it's not going to be technical, complex, but they can do a couple more structured and let's say complex elements. We got our IT people, the ones that they can do all the hard coding that is needed. And even we are going to have citizen specialists that they can be focused on reporting, focused on data, focused on even some integrations that we got there. So in order to actually support and work and empower the citizen developer revolution, we have been working a lot with different type of system elements and features to actually grow this point. And one of the features that we have been working the most to support the revolution is actually live processes. Live processes, if maybe this is the first time that you hear about this, are a type of processes that can be automated directly from the Bizagi work portal without any coding at all, right? This is going to be the low code and approach that we got in Bizagi where everything is drag and drop with multiple wizards. And this is the way on how we can automate some of the processes that are required. So in this new version, in order to support and actually empower this citizen developer revolution, we have included a lot of functionalities and features for our live processes. Here are some of them. Again, if you want to go into all the details, you will have to go through our bizagi.com website or to the release notes of the version to see all the details. But the most important ones is that now we have included into the live processes option the opportunity to copy froms. Copy one from another activity. So it means that now in the design of your forms, you don't have to start from scratch all the time. The second one, we have added a lot of new options and new features that will allow our customers to create and to customize even more the notifications that can be created within live processes. So now, if you are creating an email, and that is an email that is going to get out from a live process, now you can include information of the live process within that email. Now we have enabled also the option to have reportings in pilot stages. When you are working with live processes, you are going to have like the three environments in a live processes. That is when a live process is in draft, it is in the pilot stage, or it is in the publish stage. Before, reports were only available in the publish stage, that it was like the productive one. Now we have included, because customer has asked And it's a great idea to be able to see reporting even when I am in a pilot stage, not a way to the publish stage. The other one that we got over here, it is that now we have the opportunity to include, for example, default values into the elements that we got or that we include in live processes, and even to customize or to add for buttons. So this is just some of them, but we have add more and more elements to empower and to actually make much stronger and much intuitive the use of our live processes to support our citizen developer revolution. The third strategic directive that we got here is surfacing insights and intelligence. And here, what I would like to present and what I would like to show you at this particular moment, it is once that you finish the automation of your processes, the next step that you have to do and that you need to get attention to that one is how can we take information from that process to understand much better what I am doing, how I can improve them, and where are maybe my bottlenecks or the points where I'm having problems. So what we have included in this version 2, surfacing the insights and the intelligence, is that we have included a new type of entities in Bizagi. These new type of entities are called runtime entities. And this is a whole new type of entity that will be available everywhere in your Bizagi projects. These are entities that will help you a lot in terms of reporting, but even if you want to use them in forums, in business rules, in integrations, in all these places where are going to be available. The idea here is to support two different things, surfacing the insights and the intelligence, but also the citizen developer revolution. So it's now what we want is to take out all the information that has been always there, but that has been in the database, and that it was required to have some technical knowledge to extract the data, to do some SQL queries to extract the data and understand better our processes. So now what we have is that the business information or process information or activity information is going to be now available directly from this entity in a much easier way. Because now these are entities, and as they are normal entities, we can now use them everywhere. And one of the great things about this one is that if we combine this runtime entities with our business insight offering and our datasets offering, that is a feature that is cloud exclusive, we are going to have a great way on how we are going to understand our processes. Because now the information that is stored in the runtime entities can be exposed to the datasets, and then I can use those datasets to create dashboards or reports or whatever I want to understand much better the way on how my processes are working. In the datasets, in this business insight datasets option, we have also included two important updates and two important options there. One, to have business keys in the records that we got inside of our dataset, so in that way we can update the information in a much easier way. And second one, we have included timestamps into the dataset. So in that way, we can even know when the record has been modified or when the record even was created. And with this, get much information for the processes that I am working. And finally, to finish the list of the different features, I am going to go into the last enterprise class and global solution. And we definitely need to provide more and more features that allow our customers to actually have enterprise class and global solutions. And here, what I am going to have, or what I would like to present or to talk about, is the options that you are going to get it over here. So you are going to have it multiple authentication methods, one new feature called Smart Inbox, sites with multi-language sites, and pipelines. So let's talk about them and let's see how the information that you got over here is going to work. So we have understand that when we're working with these global class companies, right, that again they are not only located in one single place, but they are located in multiple countries, continents, regions, time zones, all of this. One of the things that we have identified with them is that it happens a lot that even though they are the same company, it can be different or it can change the authentication system that is being used for every single company in different countries. So now what we have added, and the option that we have added over here, is to have multiple authentication methods. The idea is that we can control access to internal and external users, or even to internal users that are located in different regions of the country. And that the system can basically have a different authentication option according to the place that they are located. So one of the things that we can say is like, if the user is logging from the US, then they are going to be authenticated using Azure, right? But if the customer is located in the UK, then the customer is going to be authenticated using Okta. And I just changed that authentication. The second feature here in this category is everything that is about smart inboxes. And this is amazing. This is a great feature that we have added into our product, and is one way on how our customers can work faster, work smarter, work better. The idea is that now we can have an inbox that can adapt to each single person. What we're having here is now the opportunity to create a specific inbox for different type of users. Each user can actually have the power to create its own inbox, seeing what are the most important things for them. So if I have multiple processes and I just want to focus in one country, so if I have 10 processes, but my focus always is the US, then one of the things that I can do is I want to create a smart inbox that allows me to see only cases from customers in the US, right? And I can just adapt that information to them. This smart inbox will provide the option to create default filters. So according to the context and the inbox that you are working, you can add specific filters. You can define this default sort option for your L records, so you can prioritize your pending tasks in a much efficient way. And finally, you have the opportunity to create this smart inbox, but at the same time, you can share those inbox with another user based on the role or based on the group that they belongs, right? So you can now even have more control and even a more consistency in the way your users are working. The third feature that I would like to talk about here, it is everything about Bizagi sites and the option to have multi-language sites. So sites, if maybe you don't know, is the feature that we have in Bizagi that allow our customers to create enriched websites as the front end for the application, right? This is a feature that is included in our product and that now you can use it. What we have done here now, right, is basically the option to have this multi-language option that you can add as many languages as you want, and that then you can translate those languages to actually have and to reach wider audiences all the time. So this is actually in terms of offering the information, the processes, and the sites to much more people around the world. And finally, the last feature that I would like to present in this point, it is something that is called pipelines, right? Pipelines is a new element that is going to be available in our product. And the idea with the pipelines is that you can put together or group together, right, a sequence of executions that you have in any project. What's the meaning of this? Imagine that you got in one project, one execution, and you need to execute or you need to communicate in 3 different sections of your process with SAP, send an email, and then generate a document template, right? So you have to do those 3 steps all the time. I am going to do an integration with SAP, then I'm going to send an email, and then I'm going to generate a document template. If you have to do that 3 times around the process, previously you will have to do that configuration in 3 different points. Now what you will be able to do with the pipelines is that you can create a pipeline, include those 3 steps, and then reuse the pipeline in different parts of your process. The elements that can be included in pipelines can be SAP connectors, expressions, policies, document templates, emails, connectors, or Excel connector integration. Pipelines will be available from the expert view, and once that you got the pipeline created, you will be able to use that pipeline later in the activity actions on the exit of your systems. Okay? So with this, I would like to just go to the last feature. And with this one, then I'm going to show you a couple things on the product, and then we are going to open the space for a question. Last feature that we're presenting in this version for this global solution and class enterprise solution that we're talking about, it is zero downtime deployments. So when we are working with customers that are working 24/7, that are around the world and that they cannot stop, having a deployment that stops the services is not an option for them. So that's why what we have done and what we have decided to do here with this new version is to include this zero downtime deployment option. This is going to be a cloud-only feature. It means it's going to be available only for customers that are working on cloud. And this is going to cover probably 90% of the deployments that must be executed by customers. And the idea is that now with this, customer doesn't have to stop anything or any execution or any working that they have doing or that they have been doing to execute the changes that they have here. This is actually what we're going to be able to do and what is going to allow us to achieve this 24/7 execution without any interruption. Okay? Before to go into the session or into the question section, I would like to show you a couple things directly from our product to show you some of the features, how they look like, what kind of things you will be able to do with that, and maybe just for you to have a better idea on the features that we got. So the first thing that I would like to show you here in this moment, I am showing you the Bizagi Studio, the latest version, the 11.2.5, and I would like to start showing you a couple things here. The first one, it is everything about the integration hub. So as I was telling you during the presentation, what we have decided is to organize in a much better way and to centralize the information that we have for all the different type of integrations. So it means that now in the expert view, in the external system options, we're going to have all the integrations, including, if you see here, the SAP Cloud Platform, one of the integrations that we have added, the phone recognizer, also the integration that we have here, and now we have this new section called the AP connectors. These AP connectors, it is going to be our integration hub. From here is that you are going to have the opportunity to do everything in terms of connectors. What do we want to do from the connectors? So the options that I have is that I am going to have the opportunity to go directly and explore the different connectors that are available in the connector exchange. And if you see here, some of the connectors that I mentioned you on the presentation are actually available here. So if you see, we have here this Azure Translator, this SFTP connector is also a new connector that we got over here. And even the cognitive services that we were talking about is also available for us. Additional of this, you can build your own connector from this integration hub. And when you want to build this connector is where you are going to have the opportunity and the option to review the different type of connectors that you can create. The traditional ones as the REST connector or even the custom connector, or the ones that are the new options or the custom options using the RAML standard or even the open API standard over here. In previous versions, we had this AVI Flexi Capture connector over here. And now what we're doing is that we're introducing the Power Automate option. From this connector hub, you are going to have the opportunity to create all your connector, change it, modify it, include inputs, outputs, and even test it right away. Okay? The second main feature that I would like to show you over here, it's everything about the runtime entities, right? So from the runtime entities, what I would like to show you is that these are going to be entities that are going to be available under the entities section. If you go over here, you are going to find your system entities, your runtime entities, and in every single entity, you will be able to see the different attributes and information that is available for you. One of the important things about this runtime entities is that the entities will be available in different places under the process execution. So for example, if you want to create or if you want to modify a form, At the moment that you open the form designer and you want to start creating your form, now a new node is going to appear over here, call it case. This case node is the one that actually refers to our runtime entities. And I can open the runtime entities and explore the information that I have over in order to see and to get access to all the information that is going to be relevant to me. These runtime entities you will be able to use it in forms, in expressions, in integrations, and as I show you in the presentation, to send the information to the data sets that we have available in Business Insights, so you can customize that information. Now, the next feature that I would like to show you over here, it's everything about our smart inboxes, right? So what I would like to show you here is how those smart inboxes are going to look like and how you can actually see it from there. So basically what we have over here is that also when we go into the inbox view for a user, now we are seeing a new section over here. Maybe if you remember before, we only had this option called processes. And from the processes option was the place that we were able to actually organize or review the different type of processes that we have. Now we have this new section called Smart Inbox. And from the Smart Inbox is that we can start creating, customizing, and even changing the custom inbox that we got over here. So here I have one Smart Inbox created by default that is called Madrid Orders. And it is one Smart Inbox that is showing me all this information only from the city of Madrid. Or I have another one that it say that I would like to see just the VIP cases. If you see the columns that I have over here are different according to the place that I am. And I can even customize or change the properties for this Smart Inbox. So over here, I can edit this Smart Inbox and say, I would like to see cases from just the sales order process. This is the name that I would like to display. I want to add the following columns. Take a look at here. I am having final price and city. I can customize that. And I can then define filters and sorting options. So here, my filter is, I want to see only the ones that are in Madrid, in the city, and I want to order the results based on the final price in a descending way. Even though that you have defined, right, that is Smart Inbox in that way, you can then change or add additional filters according to every single column that you want. So you can have this and say, I would like to have this value for this information or the data that I got over there. So in this way, our inbox are going to be changed over here. If I am the one that create this inbox, I can even share the inbox with other users, and in this way, they will have it. Okay, so these are just some of the features that we have and that we have included and that I wanted to show you over here. Okay,